What's going on, guys? It's DragsterTV here, back at it again, and guys, we're back here on SnowRunner. Now for today's video, guys, essentially what we're going to be going ahead and doing today, guys, is playing two very similar mega mud trucks, completely all created, designed, and uploaded by BB Customs. Now the reason I thought this would be a great video to do is because one of the vehicles in front of us here today is a Ford F350 mega mud truck, and then the one to our right is a Chevy Tahoe mega mud truck. And as I did mention, they were both made by BB Customs. Now both these trucks appeared on the mod browser on the same day, and both these trucks are re-uploads. I do not know the backstory or about anything that happened to them. All I know is that they just randomly disappeared off the mod browser one day, and then appeared a couple of months later, which was a couple of days ago. Anyways, today's video will be continuing, and also putting a slight end for now. We're going to call this one the tiebreaker, alright, to our Ford versus Chevy series of competitions. Alrighty guys, so I believe the first one we did was a Duramax versus Banks F250, and then for the second one we did Blazer versus Bronco, and in one of those competitions, the Ford won, and then the other one, the Chevy won. So Ford and Chevy are pretty much 1-1. So pretty much today, this should be the tiebreaker, since both these trucks are actually very similar, and also made by the same person. So it should be a pretty good head-to-head. So let me know down below in the comments, Ford or Chevy, the F350 or the Tahoe, which one's gonna win? And then now, let's get to tie-breaking. So we're gonna start off this competition in the truck store. Whichever one comes first on the list, we'll do all our tests first. We're gonna do the customization of both these vehicles, starting with the one that comes first on the list, and then we'll move on to the next one. Then once both the customizations are done, we'll hop in the vehicle that came first on the list in the truck store and do all their tests first, and then we'll hop into the second one and do all their tests, and then at the end declare a winner. So let's hop straight into it. So entering the truck store here, we will not have to scroll over far to find ourselves our Chevy Tahoe Mega Mud truck by BB Customs. It's a $57,000 truck and comes first on the list, which means that we'll do the customization on it first, then we'll move on to the F350, then we'll hop back into the Tahoe, do all tests on that first, and then move on to the F250 and declare a winner at the end. And over here, not too many slots over to the right, we have the F350 Mega Mud truck, also by BB Customs. Now this is where I always give the first point. The truck that costs less and is cheaper is going to get an automatic point just straight from the truck store. And then the next point we'll give is which vehicle had more customization for the price. So as you guys can see, this truck has a noticeable difference in price, is way more expensive, but then again we may get more out of our F350. There's only one way to find out. And first things first, right off the bat, our F350 looks like it is built straight off the bat for mudding, for really any mudding conditions, and then our Tahoe here is built still for great mudding performance, but does noticeably sit a lot lower. But enough talk about that. The Tahoe is cheaper, and that is so far Chevy 1, Ford 0. Now let's hop straight into customization. Since I did say the Chevy will go first, since it did come first on the list in the truck store, we're going to hop straight into the customization of the Chevy first. Hop straight into engine first. We're only going to have one engine option, and that is a Chevy small block 383 stroker with 450 horsepower. Going to have one gearbox, and that's default. One suspension option, and that's stock. So that is going to be our tallest ride height offered. Moving on into tires, this is where we're going to have just a little bit of choice. This is for the 47-inch non-branded tractor tire. That can move up to a 50-inch non-branded tractor tire. We can go down to 46-inch paddy mud tires, and then 43-inch boggers. I feel like the boggers will fit this vehicle. However, we're going for max mudding performance, so we're going to go and run the 50-inch non-branded tractor tires. And then we may, if I feel like I can get better performance out of the 47-inch non-branded tractor tires, we'll switch that, but we'll see. And then going down to winch, we only have one, that's toe strap. In visuals, you have rims, and only one option in it, it's custom rim, and then no paint options. So that is our built Chevy Tahoe Mega Truck. We didn't really change much, but there are some noticeable changes made. So now moving on to the F350 Mega Mud truck by BB Customs. Starting off here in engine, we're going to have a 7.3 liter turbo diesel. It does not tell us how much horsepower it has, just the description is EE. Moving on into the gearbox, we're only going to have one option, and that is SCS drop case with off-road transmission. Moving on into suspension, as you guys can see, we do have a couple of options. So we're going to start out here with 22-inch travel coilover shocks. Then we also have the same shocks, but lowered. And then we have the slammed variant of it, which we can use if we do pair it with the 39-inch stock tires. So this is what it would look like stock without the lift under it. Of course, for our build today, that's not going to be for us. We're going to go and just keep the stock tallest suspension. And moving on down into tires, we're going to start out here with our 60-inch paddy tractor tires, and that's what comes stock with the truck. And right below that, you do have the option to go up to 63-inch tractor tires, which widens up the tires just a bit and makes it just a bit taller. We're going to run these first, and if need be, we can switch over to 60-inch paddy tractor tires, which come stock with the vehicle. Moving on down into winch, we're going to have one option, and that's top strap. And then frame add-ons, it's pretty simple. You're going to start here with a single exhaust stack, and you have the option to go up to dual exhaust stacks. Now moving on into visuals for rims, we're only going to have one option, similar to the Tahoe, and these are the custom beadlock rim. Just like the Tahoe as well, we're also going to have no paint options. So now it's time to test these bad boys. And as did mention, since the Chevy came first on the truck store list, we're going to go through all the tests of the Tahoe first. Then we'll move on to the F350. So hopping straight out of the garage first, you guys will notice you have all-time all-wheel drive and diff lock. With our one transmission option, it's going to be a 4-gear gearbox with high gear and no low gear with no low plus or low minus. Going on into functions, you guys will notice you'll have no suspension options or no options for the vehicle at all. With this truck, you're going to have a 16-gallon tank as well. And with this truck, it's going to come with a 16-gallon tank as well. So now it's time to hop straight into sound. We're going to start up here in 3, 2, 1. That sounds awesome. I'm not revving it up, that's just the idle sound. Now let's go and rev it up. In my opinion, the detail is truly incredible. I love all the sounds and everything about this vehicle. Now, let's go and hop straight into the interior and check it out. So here's the interior view. A decent bit of detail went into the interior and your first person view, so I do like to see it. Now that we are done with the overall review of the truck, let's get straight to testing. Alrighty guys, so here we are. We are all completely lined up. Handbrake is off, and let's do this in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Alright, that was 9 seconds out of just the first mud pit. Alright time. You're 21 seconds in and out of the second mud pit. We are 30 seconds in right now. We're just doing this in first gear and automatic. I'm curious, let's try high gear. Okay, high gear is way too slow. We're just now at 1 minute. Alrighty, so our Tahoe made it out fine and dandy in 1 minute and 38 seconds. It was a solid 9 seconds straight out of the first mud pit, and by the time we exited the second one, we were at 21 seconds. And when we exited by the third one, meaning that we went through all 3, we were at 1 minute 38 seconds. So overall, pretty decent time. But now that we have our mudding performance out of the way, let's go ahead and check out our on-road performance, our speed test. Let's see how fast we can go with our 4-gear gearbox. Once again, that was 9 seconds out of just the first mud pit and 1 minute 38 out of all 3. Go ahead and reset the stopwatch in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Spam clutch. We're going to get to 3 out of 4 gears. Now we're at 4 out of 4. I do believe high gear is going to be way slower, but only one way to find out. Since we are maxed out, we're just going to try it up here, and it's going to be a little bit faster. Alrighty, that's cool. So it's going to give us just a little bit more speed. Let's finish off strong here with 4 out of 4 gears. And that was a solid 22 seconds straight down the drag strip. So 1 minute 38 through all 3 mud pits, and 22 seconds down the drag strip. Now we're going to go ahead and test the suspension going over some rocks, and then we'll try going over some logs. Then to finish off, we'll see if it can make the jump right there behind us. Then we'll move on to the F350 Mega Mud Truck. So far, I do believe that the Tahoe here is going to be a pretty good contender up against the F350. Alright guys, so here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Ooh, almost flipped there, got pretty close, but however, we are just making our way on by across these rocks like it is nothing. That was a solid 20 seconds just out of the rocks, and now we'll move on to some logs. Here we go. Oh, like a champ, like it's nothing. Oh, and the winch is going to save us there, so that's where our default winch, the tow strap winch, is going to come in handy. And the little bit of mud that was thrown in here made it just like it was nothing. That was a solid 50 seconds, 20 out of the rocks, and then an extra 30 driving on up here and then going over the logs. So now let's go and finish off our test with the Tahoe by jumping it. Then we'll hop in F350, repeat all the tests, compare times, and declare a winner. Alright, so I was talking off topic a bit too much during that jump. We kind of failed because we're wasting too much time, and it's time to hop in the F350. So right off the bat, something very noticeable. With this gearbox, we are sacrificing one gear. Alrighty guys, so there are some noticeable changes between these vehicles. So with this gearbox, you're going to have low gear, low plus, and low minus. And your automatic is only going to have 3 gears rather than 4. It's still going to have a 16-gallon tank and all-time all-wheel drive. However, you're only going to have the option for engageable diff lock when in low gear. And you guys can hear that noise slid off sound of our 7.3 whenever you switch from low to automatic. That's kind of cool. In functions, you're not going to have any suspension options, which is completely fine with me. And here's our interior view. Love to see it. There's some detail put into it. Actually, a lot of detail put into it, so I love to see it. Looks great. Same with our dual stacks. Here's our horn. I forgot to show you guys the horn on the Tahoe. Surprise, surprise, it didn't have one. And here just the F350. But now let's just hear it start up. Okay, so it's going to have the exact same sound as the L400. Same exhaust sound and let-off sound. Was a lot of coal. Looks nice. The sound is very spot on. It sounds like a lot like a 7.3 liter Power Stroke, which is the engine that this vehicle comes with when in customization. You can see that. Alrighty guys, I believe it was 1:38 to beat out of all 3 and 9 seconds out of just the first mud pit. Can we beat it? Let's find out. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Alright, come on now. Beat 9 seconds out of here. Beat 9 seconds. And 8 seconds. Okay. It was pretty close. It was like 8.56 or something. And so far pretty similar. We're 17 seconds out of both of them. And we're at 20 right now. So far making our way on by pretty easily. Hardly breaking a sweat in the F350 here. Of course, I believe this is 60 something inch tires. Coming through the 3rd mud pit, just really held up very well. Also, it's sitting way taller. So we shaved off about a minute. That was a solid 38 seconds through all 3 mud pits. So, pretty impressed. Also noting that we got pretty much the same time going out of the first mud pit, and about a 3-second difference going out of the second one. But yeah, it was really the 3rd mud pit is where this truck thrived, and it carried it on through like it was nothing. But now let's test the onward performance. So I believe 22 seconds was the time to beat, if I'm not wrong. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Spam clutch here, get to 2 out of 3 gears. We'll throw it in high up here because this is maxed out gears. This is more of an off-road gearbox, he did note. Let's try high gear right now. It's going to slow us down. That's not good. That's not good. So looks like we're just going to have to live with it. That's just a bit slower. And that you only are going to have 3 out of 3 gears. So for speed, you're not going to, I mean, this is doable speed. It's alright. It's not more than the Tahoe, but it's doable. Now this was a solid 29-second run straight down the drag strip. So, oh no, pretty similar. Just a couple second difference for losing a whole separate gear. So pretty impressive. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to our rock crawling test, also known as our suspension test. So it was 50 seconds out of the rocks and the logs, 20 seconds going over the rocks, and then the extra 30 driving to the logs and going over them. I believe I did start somewhere around here. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. I'm going to spam clutch here. We took no damage in the Tahoe. We didn't get stuck anywhere. The only doubts I'm having, and the only thing I'm kind of worried about, is possibly flipping. I mean, that's kind of my only worries. Okay, so we did better than the Tahoe coming out of the rocks. That was a solid 16 seconds coming out of the rocks. Now see what ending time we can finish with. Going on over here. So that was a 4 seconds different. So that was a 4-second difference going over the rocks here. Let's see our ending time since we are going over the logs. 50 seconds is the time to beat. So far the Tahoe only has another point on our F350 here, and that was going down the drag strip. That was our onward performance. So all in all, it was a solid 43 seconds going over all the rocks, driving up to here, and going over all the logs. It was 16 seconds going over just the rocks, so 4-second difference from the Tahoe. So the F350 will take a point for that. But now, let's just see if it'll make the jump. If they both don't make the jump, then I won't hold it against either of these vehicles. I know for sure the suspension will hold up, but there's only one way to find out. The reason we do these jumps is kind of just to test the suspension, but then again it's also to test, does it have enough speed to make it up the ramp, what kind of damage we're taking, are we going to nosedive. 1 engine damage, wow, okay, so this is a pretty beefy truck. That's another thing that just goes to show. So if you don't land it, which we didn't, that's kind of a lengthy jump. If you don't have too much speed coming at it with this truck, with this truck, you know you're not really gonna make it. We pretty much kind of destroyed the Tahoe when not landing that jump, but we completely nosedived the F350. It only took 1 engine damage. We completely flipped and rolled this thing. That's why the taller suspension is gonna come in handy with this. All in all, both these vehicles are great. BB Customs did a great job on both of them. 10 out of 10 for both. Really not much more I could say about the Tahoe. Maybe just a bit more customization possibly in the future with an update. Would probably just make it right up there with the F350 and they'd be very similar. If updates come to this, then we'll do a rematch, you know, because I feel like this, with it being a decent bit smaller, is still a great contestant up against the F350. But really, this video getting a bit too long. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to have an amazing rest of guys day or night. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy. And with that, I'll catch you guys very, very soon in the next one.